Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's tutorial I am talking about how to draw ginger fur and stripes. So jumping right into this tutorial now, and the first thing I wanted to point out is that I'm using Prismacolors for this drawing, and the main reason why I'm using Prismacolors is because I'm trying to preserve some of my other pencils such as the Luminance and Polychromos pencils, but also because I know a lot of people use the Prismacolors, so I wanted to try and do some tutorials using pencils that most people will recognise and probably use. So I wouldn't use these pencils for say client orders or drawings that I was intending to sell for various reasons, but for the purpose of this tutorial I think these pencils are okay to use, and you absolutely can use them in your own drawings. But going back to the cat drawing now, I wanted to focus this tutorial mainly on how to draw ginger fur and stripes. So I'll be going into a lot of detail about how to draw ginger fur, so how to pick out the right colours for the fur, what techniques I use to draw fur, and also how to draw stripes, because a lot of cats have a lot of patterns in their fur, such as stripes, and that can be really tricky to draw. So first of all, as you can see, I've already drawn out a rough sketch of the cat, and that is the first thing that is really important to do. You want to make sure that you have an accurate sketch of your subject before you go in and start adding in all of the details and colouring in. So I've sketched out the main part of the cat's features such as the eyes, nose, ears and so on, but I've also added in some extra details such as marking out where some of those stripes are, and by doing this it helps me to just establish where the patterns are in the cat's fur. So for the stripes, I've lightly sketched out where the stripes are on that cat, and I've just marked these out with a pencil, but you want to keep that pencil nice and light so that it doesn't show through your drawing. And now what I'm doing is starting to get in all of the initial base layers of pencil down and lightly marking out the stripes. I'm using the Tuscan Red Prismacolor pencil to lightly mark out those stripes, and I'm using both the tip and the side of the pencil to lightly sketch out those stripes, and I'm making sure that I draw the stripes in the direction that they are going in on the reference photo. So now that I have lightly sketched out some of the stripes on the cat's head, what I'm starting to do now is make sure that these stripes blend in with the fur on the cat's head. We still want to see the stripes, but we also don't want them to stand out like a sore thumb and look like lines on the cat's head. So to blend them in with the rest of the cat's fur, I'm starting to build up layers and work those stripes in with the rest of the fur. I like to start off by applying a very light base of colour and then build up on that base layer with various colours to create tone and depth in the drawing. And then once I feel that I've got enough saturation and pigment down for the fur, I start to add in really fine details such as some individual fur strokes. So now to talk a little bit about how to draw ginger fur. Firstly, it's really important to look at your reference photo. I know I say this all the time, but it is really important. And you should be paying attention to that reference photo throughout your drawing to get in all of the colours, tones, shading, dark areas and highlights in the fur. Ginger fur is incredibly hard to draw because there are so many different tones in that fur. I always spend some time before starting a drawing to really analyse my reference photo and pick out all of the colours that I can see. So sometimes to help me with picking colours I use colour swatches. So I've swatched every single colour from my Prismacolor set onto a bit of paper, and then I hold up the colour swatches against the picture and see what sort of colours match or are close to the reference image. I then set all of the colours that I have picked out to the side and I have them ready to use in my drawing. So for this drawing, just by looking at the reference photo of the cat, I could see various colours in the fur. So there were a lot of red tones, orange tones, brown tones, yellow tones, even flesh tones, and really light tones as well. So it really is surprising at how many different colours can make up just one drawing. So for this section of fur that I'm drawing now, this really is a process of me building up colours and tones so that the fur looks realistic. You want to always start with a base colour or base layer of pencil and then build up on that base layer of pencil to add more depth, tone and contrast to your drawing, because otherwise it will look really flat. So for that base layer of pencil I applied, I used a light layer of the cream, and I used this colour because when I looked at the lightest parts of the cat's fur, I could see a lot of very light cream and yellows. So we want to make sure that some of this colour shows through in our lightest areas and shows through some of those darker tones as well. It's really important with fur that you have a variation of tone, so make sure you have both lighter and darker tones going on rather than just blocks of colour. So if you look at the section of fur I'm drawing now, can you see how the fur is darker in some places but lighter in others? This will help to make the fur look realistic rather than flat and unnatural. And to achieve this look, I'm really using quite a lot of the pencils, and I picked these pencils out by studying that reference photo and picking out the colours I could see. So for the lightest tones, I'm using a lot of that cream pencil, as well as some of the yellowy tone pencils such as the sand and the yellow ochre, which have a yellowy but slightly more intense colour. And I use these pencils for not only the base layers but also the highlighted parts of the fur as well. Then I start to build up on these lighter colours by applying some richer and warmer colours. And to reflect that nice gingery colour of the fur, I use some of the sunburst yellow, yellowed orange, orange and goldenrod to really intensify that colour in the fur. Then to add more depth, contrast and darker tones, I use some reddy tones and also some brown tones, which are a lot darker than the yellow and orange tones, and those darker tones really intensify everything and help make those stripes stand out even more. So some of the colours I am using in the drawing now are the burnt ochre, sienna brown and terracotta. So going back to the stripes now, hopefully you can see how this whole process of building up layers and then starting to render an area brings everything together. So in the case of the stripes, I'm working section by section and making sure that everything is blending in together. So I'm thickening out those stripes slightly by using the side of that pencil and creating very slight and very soft pencil strokes. And those pencil strokes help to drag the stripes into the surrounding fur a lot better, because like I said, you don't want the stripes to really stand out and look like lines or blocks of colour. So this is actually one of the benefits to using wax-based pencils. The Prismacolors and Caran D'ache Luminance pencils are very soft, so it makes the blending process a lot easier in this case. So these pencils really help to create an easy transition between the fur and the stripes. I'm not saying that you can't create the same effect with Faber-Castell polychromas, but it is slightly more difficult to do so. Another tip I have for drawing stripes is that the stripes make patterns in the fur. So if you look at my drawing, can you see how the stripes have made patterns in the fur? These patterns can actually help you, and they can help you because they can really break your drawing down. So if you look at how I'm drawing now, I'm really working in small sections between each stripe. So by breaking down the drawing into sections, it doesn't feel so overwhelming and can really help to transition between one area of the fur to the next. Also, the stripes in the fur can create shapes, and if you can pick out shapes in your drawing, that can also help you as well. So shapes make it easier to break down an area because they create a visual for you. So it might be easier for you to pick out shapes in the fur rather than trying to draw a large volume of fur that all looks the same. And it's also really important to draw stripes in the direction and correct place that you see them in on the reference photo. And I know I touched upon this point at the beginning of the video, but it is important because you don't want to be drawing stripes just anywhere, because then that won't be a true reflection of your reference photo. And you also want to make sure that you are drawing the stripes in the direction they are going in so that they don't look like solid blocks or lines. So hopefully you can see how the stripes I have drawn on the cat do look very subtle and natural. You can still tell that they are stripes, but they don't look unnatural or unrealistic or really stand out too much. And you can see how the ginger fur looks natural as well. And again, it's really important to make sure that you are not only using the correct colours, but you use the colours together to maximise the amount of detail you can get into the fur. And that just about finishes off this tutorial, and I will have a picture of the finished drawing appear on the screen now so you can see how everything comes together. And as always, I really hope you enjoyed this video and picked up some really helpful tips from this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an update from me. I upload art related videos 3 times a week, and I have a list of all of the materials, products and equipment that I use in the description box down below. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye everyone!